Welcome back to Hope with Carol B. And we're talking with Prophet Thaddeus Branch. He's operated in the office as an ordained prophet of God for over 20 years. I'm pretty sure he's seen pretty much every aspect of this job that you can. But today we're talking about health, nutrition, and the things that we can do to help us stay strong and vibrant in our cause. And our cause with God and our careers, natural careers, just keep our body, spirit, and soul in tune with the Lord. So Prophet Branch is going to give us some of his personal experiences with this as a prophet of the Lord.
The office of a prophet is a serious call from God. When I'm challenged with opposition of what God is saying and being attacked, I turn to the Lord. I get scriptures and remember things that He has told me, and the scriptures come back to my mind, and I turn on gospel music, something to help me meditate and to get back connected with Him. You know, sometimes you're offended and you get disconnected. So your strength comes from God. So you got to press into Him. You got to pray. Sometimes you even have to fast. But God will restore your strength. And His word is not going to fall to the ground. Whatever He says, and walking in the office of prophet, you don't add or subtract from what God is saying to you. You give the word just like He give it to you. And sometimes He give you words. He speaks to you. And some things He wants you to say, and some things He don't want you to say. He wants you to pray. And you got to obey His voice. And when you ministering to people, you need to be prayed up before you start. Your strength is in prayer. Your strength in reading the scriptures. So God gave me a word for a person, and I gave the word, and they went on about their business, and a few months later, they called me and said, that word was true. I said, yeah, God spoke that word, gave me that word to give you. This lady was in need of a home. You know, sometimes we prophesied prosperity. Prosperity is not an enemy. Prosperity comes from God. He wants you to increase. He always wants to bless you. Also,
I want you to help me welcome my guest, Dr. Machelle Cole Barnes. Today, we're going to be talking about health, nutrition, our careers, ministry, especially the prophetic ministry, and all the things that go into maintaining a healthy system so that we can do our job. We prepared for our secular job, and God has called us into ministry jobs, and it takes a strong stamina. Sometimes I think we people don't realize that without a healthy body, you're not going to be able to do anything for God, yourself, or anybody else. And the clergy is notorious for not taking care of our bodies. So we want to talk about that today and see if we can get some enlightenment for the people who are dealing with that today. Some things, some tips that will be able to help them in their journey, things that worked for us, And I just want you to first introduce yourself to them. I've known you over 20 years, so I know some things, but I just like for you to share in your own words your background. I wish you would start with the fact that you started just when you were 16.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Branch. I'm just excited, and thank you for this opportunity to come and to share with the viewers, and we hope that what we say will be a blessing to everyone. My name is Machelle Cole Barnes, and I started ministry at age 16. I am a licensed practical nurse by trade. I've been a nurse over 26 years. I've been in ministry probably about 33, 34 years now. I've only pastored since 2016, so that's still relatively new as well. I've done a lot of travel nursing, and I've also volunteered helping with health as an advocate. I've had the opportunity to speak on rural health, both mentally, physically, even spiritually, advocating for the people in our rural health community, our rural communities, at different conferences, like the United Nations Women's, Commission on the Status of Women, and my Rural Development Group Leadership Network. We do a workshop, a side event with them every year when they bring women from all over the world. So in doing so, that has been a great opportunity to speak on panels representing West Alabama, and I'm proud of where I come from, and God has just brought us from a mighty long way. So I've had an opportunity to do a lot of different things, especially talking about health and wellness, and just advocating for people to know that it's important to speak up for yourself as a patient when you go to the doctor. So just a lot of different variety of things, so we can just go however you want to go.
Okay. Well, there's something I know that I believe would be interesting to our guests, and that is because we're talking about the whole man. We're talking about the spiritual man, we're talking about the soul of man, and we're talking about the physical man.
Yes,
so we're talking about things that people worship and praise about. We're talking about things that involve our faith, and we're talking about things that involve our imagination, our will, our emotional balance,
yes,
the things that affect our memory and adjust what we can believe and hope for the future. And we're talking about things that you can touch, taste, smell, hear, feel, believe in the natural as well, which is a big subject.
Yes.
So we know we won't get it exhausted the way we would like to in this setting, but we want to give enough information for people to know that you have to start where you are.
Yes.
And you have to pay attention to details where you are. One of the other things I think that will help people understand where you're coming from is the fact that you started a group home for the mentally challenged in around 30?
Yes.
Around 30 years old. That in itself is remarkable.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
it's been about 13, 14 years now. My mother, Helen Cole, she had started a group home years ago, but I had watched my best friend's grandmother have a group home, so I was always hanging around them. She trusted me enough to help her with her home sometime. So later on, when my mother started a home, I also helped her with her home to get it set up and started. So later when she stopped, then I found myself starting a home. But none of that was anticipated early on. So I've always been around people that have had mental health issues. But living with them is a whole nother story, because I also resided in the home with them. So you have a chance to see it up close and personal versus just working in a setting where you're around people that have mental health issues. One thing, Pastor, that I've become very aware of is that as a people, we don't like to talk about mental health, and we don't like to talk about mental illness. And even in the church, it's like taboo, and many people say everything is a devil. which that's not true. There are some issues that are chemically balanced, imbalanced, and there's many things that are going on organically in the brain. So a lot of that is very true. But when we talk about what's going on with this pandemic, a lot of people's mental health have been affected from being cooped up in the house. A lot of times they're having to communicate with people they only see in passing. It's sad to say that our families, a lot of times, we haven't communicated with them like we used to. I was laughing at one family. They were texting each other from the other room. And I just thought that was hilarious. But we've lost the ability to communicate effectively, to really talk to people and have a full conversation instead of a Twitter conversation or reading it on Facebook. So we've become more, I would say, artificial with people knowing us off a distance, even the people that live with us. And so we've lost sometimes being in contact with our own state of being, spiritually and mentally and physically. So it has taught me to be very sensitive and aware of my own state. You know, we run. Sometimes we don't get enough rest. As a healthcare worker, a frontline worker, many times canceling my own doctor's appointments because I have to take care of other people. So you will find a lot of us at this point frustrated and burnt out because we tend to put ourselves last as caregivers. But then let's talk about as women. We also tend to put ourselves last on the list because as a natural caregiver, your job is to make sure the house is running, the kids, the husband if you have one, or taking care of your aged parents that may need help at this point. And so you're pushed and pulled so many different directions till we don't take time to refuel and renew our own peace and sanity, or just get a moment of quiet and clarity. Even in trying to get the quietness, we tend to still have too much noise.
Well, how do you think it is affecting us now that we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic and some real concern for our country about the flu season and those two things running concurrently?
Yes.
For people who didn't really get a chance to balance life and relationships prior to that, and suddenly you're up close with people that you have not had a chance to develop that kind of balance with. And do you have any tips for us on how we can best manage that arena? I mean, you know, even to be tested these days, you're talking about 14 days of isolation. So you have someone in the family who's tech savvy, who want to text and call and do while they're in isolation in some part of the house. Right. And then you have members of the family who don't know how to turn on a phone and don't know how to turn on a computer. Right. Who don't know how to you know, compensate that way. I would think that it would be very, very stressful. I know in my home we have 40 days where we had to be separated, and the phone, the text. Well, I ordered a baby monitor, so you put a baby phone in one room and one in the other room.
From the next room.
So we'll be able to hear and talk, you know, openly in the room without having to have the phone on all the time. Right. But you know, maybe that's not practical for everyone. But do you have some ideas of what people can do, and have any concerns about how that would put extra pressure on our mental balance, even if you are clergy? Because now you can't come to church, and you're not having church services, you're not tech savvy, so you're not on Facebook Live, and people tend to not to give and do. So you suddenly without resources, you're without any place to go, and you're cooped up with these people that you haven't really developed a relationship with.
Yes. Yes.
Sounds like
chaos.
It sounds like this bomb waiting to happen. But what do we do? I mean, this is really the condition of the world today, not just this area.
Well, first off, I think many of us were not totally aware that some of us was on the brink of breakdown, and burnout before the pandemic hit. Most of us have been ripping and running. I mean, when you look at a lot of our schedules, a lot of it is crazy. I mean, we got people that regularly work 16-hour days all the time. And I explained to somebody close to me recently, your body wasn't meant to do that over a long period of time. Now, short bursts, you can usually handle that. But then when you start adding sleep deprivation, we operating on naps, we're still going, we're barely eating. Then when we do eat, we're eating something that's fast and convenient versus health. And so when you're just constantly doing that, constantly busy and full of busy things to do, always something to do. Sometimes you're not aware, even especially us in the church. And the minister, a lot of time, you're tired as well. So now you done went from what you were used to doing to everything shutting down. That's a shock by itself. And then now you got pastors that are mega church pastors, and God has really leveled the playing field with this, because the mega church pastor feels what the small church pastor feels when they're preaching to just a handful of people. And now because of the pandemic, everybody's having to rethink how they're doing ministry. But by the same token, getting back to mental health, it's affecting everybody's mental health. And you have a lot of people going through depression right now, very serious depression, very serious loneliness. Anxiety levels are through the roof. So you have people that are self-medicating, whether it's through food or alcohol or drugs or some sort of activity in excess, because we don't know how to cope with all this change. That's not even adding if you actually got COVID. I've been tested myself a couple of times. I've had to take off work a couple of times just from being exposed to COVID. The test was negative, but because I had been exposed, and I am a healthcare worker and working with a medically fragile person, I needed to, to take that time back. But what it reminded me of is that we have to slow down at some point and find some peace and some sanity. Even activities that bring you pleasure, that calm you, relax you. Some people like to knit. I don't know too many people that knit anymore, but there are a few people that like to craft. People finding creative outlets, even with the children, to express themselves. A lot of people have taken to social media, and social media can be good in its place, but some feel and felt this before the pandemic, that if they don't get a lot of likes or they don't get a lot of reaction from people, that they're not doing good, that they're not living their best life. But the best life is having Christ in your life and knowing where your help comes from and where your peace comes from. It's not, even our economics have changed. I mean, a lot of people don't have as much coming in. Some people have gotten behind as a result of being, laid off or furloughed during the pandemic. So it has caused change from the White House to your house. It has caused many changes. So what we have to do, to me, prayer has been key for me. It has been key. That's my go-to anyway. But I think I've prayed even more, not just for myself, but for others as well. Also, other members of the clergy need to reach out to one another. I always say everybody needs somebody that they can be naked with. And when I say that, I mean somebody you can be real with. You don't just have to be pastor or doctor or the butcher baker or whoever you are. You could just be Carol. I could just be Machelle. And if you're not feeling that great that day, you can just say, well, right now I'm having a hard time. But a lot of us have gotten into the form and the fashion of just saying, oh, I'm blessed, I'm too blessed to be stressed. And you're saying a lot of things sound good, and you really do believe that, but it come a time you just need to be honest about where you are. That lack of honesty and being real and authentic with, I'm tired, or I'm not getting enough sleep, or everything is getting on my nerves right now. to where you're even willing to accept help. And some of us are prideful. You don't want nobody to know that you have these same feelings, these same anxieties, sometimes to a greater or lesser degree. But knowing I have somebody I could at least call or text or reach out to and just say, right now, I need prayer, or I just needed an encouraging word, will help so much. So making sure that we have support systems, that's very important. Now you imagine the people that's in the nursing homes that were having 1 or 2 visits, and some people were used to having visits weekly from their family, all of a sudden go to nothing, absolutely nothing. And the only face they got to see was the caregivers, who were frazzled and scared, and you know, everybody has been just kind of walking around, I would say, almost in a daze. But prayer and meditation have been key. And finding a place to say, Lord, you helped me when things were at their worst. Maybe it was some years ago. Maybe you had an episode in your health. And through that episode, you learn He is a healer. And healing takes time. Healing is a process. Now, He will work a miracle. But most healings, even from a nursing standpoint, take time. And so I've had relatives that have had COVID, and I had to explain to them that because COVID has attacked your respiratory system in particular, it's going to take a while, if you had a severe case, for you to recover. And so when they finally thought they was doing better and getting ready to go back to work, they started doing something and experienced a lot of shortness of breath. I said, your lungs are still healing. Yes, you can do a few things that you couldn't do a few weeks ago, but your body is telling you that you're still healing. And so sometimes we ignore those symptoms, the flashlight, the stop, you know, the red, the green, and the yellow. And sometimes we've been on yellow caution for a while before we really have a breakdown in our health or our mental health, our spirits. Because we just go, 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 busy, 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 you know, rush, rush, rush. Sometimes even when we eat our dinner, we don't take time to just slowly enjoy the meal, to slowly enjoy the fellowship if you're eating with someone, and just enjoying their company. I think I've heard more people say that they begin to value their family more as a result of being at home. And those that have been sick, others seeing to them and helping them, neighbors even coming to support, can I help you? People you hadn't talked to in a while, bringing you a bowl of soup, or just showing a little kindness. Even in the midst of this crazy, chaotic world, there are still good people. And there's still people showing love and kindness. So I would encourage everyone to especially remember the first responders and the first support people, the people at the cash register, the people that's been working under all kind of pressure, dealing with all our attitudes, and you know, and now you got a mask on, so in the South it's more friendly, but now you can't tell whether people are smiling or frowning too much. But just telling people, thank you, I appreciate what you do. So just being thankful helps us and trying to get to a place of, why are you thankful? Well, I'm still alive, and sometimes, well, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Well, yes, it is. And then when we start counting our blessings and thinking about where you came from and thinking about different tests and adversity you faced before, it gives you the courage that you have the resilience to bounce back.
Okay, and I believe I'm hearing you say that what the average person can do is to examine their faith, pray more,
definitely,
meditate more.
Yes.
And of course, the Bible tells us to meditate upon the Word, but just if you just can meditate upon good thoughts,
yes,
of happier times,
yes,
and believe that happier times will come again.
They will.
To talk with family members and neighbors.
Yes.
And I think I heard you say to even at family time, maybe bringing back the family meal. We had got so busy that family didn't eat together.
Yes, ma'am.
So, maybe back to setting the table and the family eating together. Whatever it is that calm you down.
Yes.
And to not be ashamed that you're stressed.
Yes, that's very
Because
important.
the world has changed, and it probably won't change all the way back the way it was. So we have to get some new skills and some new techniques for dealing with our soul realm, because our mental state is in our soulish realm.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the part that's going to spend eternity with God. So we don't want to think for a minute we could go there frazzled and dazzled.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to be calm, in that area. Well, I also believe that career-wise and medically, nutritionally, let me say this. I read these couple of articles from scientific research, and it says some things that's interesting.
Okay.
It says our DNA renews itself every 6 months.
Yes.
The brain rebuilds itself every year.
Yes.
Our bones build a new skeleton every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Our blood is renewed every 4 months.
Yeah, 3 to 4. Mm-hmm.
The lining in our stomach rebuilds every 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
The liver renews itself every 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Our skin rebuilds itself every month.
Okay.
This is real hope. I mean, I don't care how hard it is now. If you can just believe for the next day and the next month and then, next few minutes, you keep living, your body is going to renew itself.
Right.
And if you pay attention and allow the good thoughts to renew the soulish realm,
Yes.
tap into your faith to renew your spirit.
Yes.
According to this, 6 months to a year, you're a whole new person.
Yes. Even
That's like the best news I've heard all year.
Yes, and you can rebuild. Even in sickness, your body, it may take a little longer due to the illness, but your body naturally rebuilds itself. But the scripture lets us know that we need to be renewed in the spirit of our mind. Now, that renewal process may be different for each person. Like we talked about prayer or meditation. Some people do yoga. Some people do a lot of different things trying to relax. Some kind of music that helps you to just settle down a little bit. And then when we're talking about meditation, it don't have to be something really deep. From what I'm understanding, the meditation can just thinking on those good things, thinking on where you want to go. What do you see past this? Because a lot of people are having trouble seeing the future, seeing that it will renew, that things will get better.
The thing that came to mind when I was reading this, there's got to be something that we're missing. And when I thought about it, I came to the conclusion that it was we don't take good care of our immune system.
Oh, that's very
our
true.
Bodies are designed by God, by scripture, and by science to renew itself.
Yes.
But yet, it doesn't always renew itself for everybody. And the catalyst is your spiritual immune system and your natural immune system. Because if I cut my finger,
Right.
and if I don't allow it to get dirty,
Right.
it will heal itself.
It will.
I don't have to do anything. It'll just heal itself.
Yeah, if it's not too deep, it'll heal itself.
Yeah, it'll heal itself. But, if it's deep, then it has a greater chance of infection. But let's just say I'm going to cut myself. I'm not going to get dirty. It's not going to get infected. It will heal itself, regardless.
Yeah, it will.
It may leave ugly scar, but it's going to heal itself. If I don't do anything, it's going to leave a little ugly scar.
Yes.
But it'll heal. Because our bodies were designed to heal itself.
Yes.
And I just wish people would get that. The body is designed to heal itself. All we have to do is not mess it up.
Yes.
And I believe that because we don't feed our immune system the right thing, hence brings us to this nutrition,
Okay.
that we don't feed ourselves healthy thoughts and healthy memories, hence that soul is in trouble.
Right.
We don't feed ourselves the Word of God, the character of God, the Spirit of God, hence that problem in the spirit realm, and we know anything, even though we're getting a new body every year, we're doing the same damage we done the year before. So it's hard for the body to stay renewed because we're continually doing the damage.
Well, we, as human beings, we are creatures of habit. And we pretty much have our own routine every day. Most of us have a routine. But if we don't renew and work on changing our overall habits, we're aware that right now many of us are eating a lot of things because of nervousness and tension and tired of being in the house. And so some of us eat instead of getting drunk, you know, or getting high. So some people are self-medicating with a lot of different things. But if we're going to learn new habits, they say it takes up to 21 days for it to really get as in a system for you. So you can do it every day for 21 days. The prayer, the meditation. I'm going to eat more fruits and vegetables. Personally, I've been working on that, improving my health and drinking more water. Okay, so what I began to do is I got a coach, a health coach now that I'm accountable to, because I needed someone to help me stay accountable. Someone that was going to remind Machelle, you need to take care of yourself. You need to put yourself first. I was taking a class a couple of weeks ago, Pastor Carol, and it was on leadership. And this leadership class did not go the way I thought it would go. And they had us reading books about authentic leadership and servant leadership. And it was really good. But this class was bothering me so bad. So I started praying about what about this material is bothering me. And I was realizing that I was back in this cycle again of putting everything else first before myself. And that I had put myself last. Okay, so I was starting to see the red flags in my health again with some issues I've had. And I started seeing the increase in stress. And when the stress would go up, immediately I started seeing different symptoms come. So it reminded me when I started praying and meditating why it bothered me so much. Because I needed to make a commitment to myself to put my health first. My sanity first, and start renewing my mind. So I got the health coach to help me. I had watched her lose weight and change her health over a period of time. I've known her for a few years, but she began to offer this. So it came to me, you need some help. Don't be ashamed to say you need some help. You say, well, you're a nurse, you've been a nurse 26 years, but there are a lot of nurses that are not taking care of themselves. There's a lot of doctors right now that their health is terrible because they've missed their doctor appointments. They're not taking their medication. They're not eating a healthy diet. And right now you're getting very little in your spirit, man. So again, I want to encourage people, use social media. You got YouTube, you got whatever kind of ministry, encouragement, motivation, inspiration at your fingertips. I mean, literally at your fingertips. And most of it you don't have to pay. Any and all, and seek something that helps you to see I'm getting better, to where you're starting to think about there will be life after COVID. I will make it through this, and with God's help I'm going to overcome. It might be financial, it might be spiritual, it might be emotional. Whatever it is, you start speaking to yourself, because we say now, if you talk to yourself, that's a psychiatric symptom and you are crazy. That's not true. We all talk to ourselves every day. You're saying something within yourself whether you know it or not. You're either saying, I'm defeated, I'm tired, I can't make it, I'm falling apart. You know, we have some message that we're saying inside. So instead of saying that, you can say, I like to use the scripture, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Or, you know, just saying something uplifting. And knowing inside, like she said, the body renews itself. So now I'm consciously through the help of this coach, making myself eat more fruits and vegetables, changing the way I prepare some things, because I'm not interested in a diet. I'm trying to make it a lifestyle change, something I can do after I've lost the weight that I want to lose. I'm trying to do something I can do every day. That's
something
practical.
that's going to make you healthy.
Healthy,
something
yes.
That's going to
in my body, because I got a lot to do, yes. And that is very critical. But I also know that the stress has a big effect on the body, the mind, and the spirit as well. So working on that with eating the fruits and vegetables, trying to learn new ways of fixing things or vegetables that I like, and the meats, but drinking more water. You know, we say, oh, that's simple. We hear it all the time, but we don't practice it. Also, good vitamins and minerals. You know, I do some different oils and things like that. Just trying to work on my health and my immune system. Some probiotics for my stomach.
You know, I think the average person doesn't realize that because of the Southern diet,
True.
Traditional Southern diet, rich in fats, fried foods,
yeah, we like fried
sweets,
food.
Things like that. It makes us have a very acidious stomach culture.
Very much so.
And it needs to be alkaline.
Right.
And there are things that alkaline it and would keep us from having acid reflux, ulcers, and cold, stomach cancer if you just keep the pH down on it.
Right.
You know, and things like green leafy vegetables will do that. Fiber will do that. Any kind of grain or fiber will do that. And if you can't eat enough fiber, then you can take a fiber supplement.
Yes. That
will keep that pH balance in your stomach. And so now when your stomach is renewed every 5 days, then you're going to be feeling better before you even make it to the doctor to get that pill. And you're going to find yourself not needing that pill because you've just taken some proactive, natural things the way God said. He said that the plants and the leaves will heal the nation. Well, drink some tea, you know, and even in our blood, for example, that, you know, making our blood strong. Every 4 months we get new blood. But then if you don't feed your blood what it needs. One of the things that was just life-altering for me was when I found out, I was reading, you know, I'm a trivia person when it comes to information. I was just reading about World War I.
Okay.
And when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. I was reading a history piece about that. And in the midst of that piece, it said that they ran out of blood the day that Pearl Harbor was hit. There were so many thousands of people injured and dead, and they didn't have blood. Okay. And they took the water out of the coconuts and used it for blood. It has the same characteristics as blood plasma. This was just like eye-opening for me. Yes. And I'm going like, I've been passing over those things in the grocery store. They don't necessarily taste that great. But they do the work. Yes. And when I was little, I had a puppy. And he was, when he didn't feel good, he would lay out in the sun and eat the grass. I thought he was a nutty puppy. I was little, so I thought he was a nutty puppy. But what I've learned is that wheatgrass, has so many healing properties in it. Yes. And the sun is rich in that vitamin D when you're not getting that radiation sun, direct sun in the middle of the day, but you're getting that morning sun and the evening sun indirect. It is healing. Yeah. So I think one of the things we're saying here is that people need to consciously seek out to make themselves knowledgeable.
Yes, very much so.
About their own bodies, their own condition. Go see your primary physician. Yes. Go see a psychologist. Yes. Go see someone to give you a summary of what they believe is happening, and then take that information, take it to the Lord in prayer. Yes. Look for research on all these mechanisms that we have today. You know, I'm a firm believer you can Google anything. Exactly. And find the information. And then I heard something crucial.
Okay.
Find someone to hold you to accountability.
That's true.
And it's got to be somebody you're going to listen to.
Yes, even spiritually, you have your counselor, your priest, your rabbi, or, you know, another minister of some sort, somebody uplifting, and somebody that's going to tell you the truth. Not the version you want to hear, not some alternative facts. You need somebody going to tell you the truth. What you're doing may not be good. You may want to try this, thus, and so and so. The same way with our health. If you have a chronic illness and you are taking medication, please look up what you are taking. Please know the side effects of the medicines you're taking. Also, pay attention to your diet. Do you know if you take certain antibiotics, you shouldn't have dairy products? That's not with all of them, but with some of them. So we have to pay attention that if you're on an antibiotic that says avoid dairy while you're taking this antibiotic, and you want to eat cereal every morning with some dairy milk, 9 times out of 10, that medicine is going to have trouble with effectiveness.
So you can go to plant milk.
Yes.
Because there's plenty of plant milk.
Some nut milk, like almond milk.
Almond milk is
I like
good.
Almond milk, coconut milk.
Soy milk.
Yeah.
So we're still saying come to an understanding that there are very good alternatives when it comes to nutrition.
Right.
When it comes to mental health. Now, if you were going to wind this up for like 1 or 2 minutes, what is it would you like to tell them? Because we didn't talk much about the prophetic side.
Right.
But God never leaves us without information.
That's true.
And as long as there's life, there is hope.
I'm glad of that. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I think one of the biggest things, in addition to finding someone to help you to be accountable, if you are going through a period of depression and anxiety, find your friend. Find someone that you can talk to. If you're feeling like you want to end your life and like there's just nothing else to live for, please reach out. There is help available. If you're in a domestic violence situation, even though with the pandemic and everything is kind of crazy and not like usual, if you need help, please seek help. Please seek counsel. It is available. I know we've had to change the way we do everything. Every single system has had to change. But by the same token, there is help and resources available for you. If you need help with your diet, don't be afraid to say, to seek out help concerning your health. How can I help my health to be better without medication? Is there something I can do in my diet? Is there something I can do with the exercise? I'm trying to find a way to exercise regularly. Okay, sporadic is not doing enough. I need to do something regularly, every day. Find something I can do. So these are some things that I'm trying to do to get myself back into balance, back into improving my health. And I thank God for where I've come from, but I have some ways to go before my next birthday. So I've set some little goals along the way with this health coach to help me reach that. But one of the struggles I'm having is when you work a 10-hour day, how do you find room to do 15, 30 minutes worth of exercise? Just trying to put that in the day. And then finding some time to wind down before bed so you can sleep and not stay up all night long because you can't sleep. But just trying to find some balance, find some quiet, find some joy, find something that brings joy, something that brings happiness. And that's what I'm saying. Make sure you have that connection with family, your grandkids, nieces and nephews. Children are great sources to find something to laugh about. You know, but having that spirit of a child, we forgot how to get out and play, how to find simple things and find joy. You love flowers? Go out and look at the flowers. Look at the foliage. It's the fall. It's beautiful this time of the year and a good time to get a good walk. Do a prayer walk if you like to pray. Prayer walks are great and the weather's not too hot now. So you can get out and pray. You can get out and do some things, even if you have to have a mask on. But if you're right around your house and you're just saying, Lord, I just need you to help me. Give me strength today and help me to see that it will get better.
Okay.
It will get better tomorrow.
Well, Dr. Barnes, we thank you so much. You have given us a wealth of information and ideas on what we can do to get balance in our nutrition and our mental health, our spiritual health, and even in our careers.
Yes.
I believe that I believe I'm an average person. If it'll work for me, it'll work for you.
Yes.
I want to say thank you to all our guests today. We have truly been enlightened, have been blessed with great resources, great information, and great examples. It is my earnest desire and my definite, sincere intention to leave the message with you that there is hope, that God has a way out for you. As long as you continue to live, there is hope. Things are changing. Some things are challenging. But we can overcome all because of Christ Jesus. I just want to say, everything may not have been for you, but I'm sure that something was there for you from a perspective of our jobs, our nutrition, our ministry, our families, our health. You've got to stay healthy in order to enjoy all these wonderful things that God has provided for us. There is so much left to discover. There are so many great things God has placed here for us. Let us enjoy it all for as long as we can. God bless. This is Carol B with Hope for Carol B. Have a great day.